Hey, Sagittarius, Mel, intuitive coach here, excited to bring in your August 2025 love and family reading. If you are interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, Sagittarius, where are you at in matters of the heart? Now, I am being shown here a white elephant. Okay, a white elephant. This could be about addressing the white elephant in the room. I'm also seeing the words or the word escapism on a big platform, like a big billboard platform here. It feels like you are being guided to find a way to deal with something that maybe you have not been dealing with, okay? Or if something hasn't been addressed, now is the time to address it. Now, if you have been behaving or witnessing behavior that has to do with escapism, such as overeating, maybe substances, social media, gaming. It can be any sort of external void that we reach for to fill something that we don't want to address or look at, or maybe we don't even know how. But I'm being shown the white elephant, and I feel like this month is pivotal. And I have a feeling it's because this Leo energy is showing up for all of us to step courageously into this new timeline. The 8-8 portal is going to be a big one, and I'll talk about that in the coming week or so. But I feel like you are being guided to step boldly into this new timeline, right? And make a new choice. Bottom of the deck, you have the Wheel of Fortune. This is why, because this is a turning point for you. Fate and destiny offering you up a new path here, or a shift in your path. This is a cycle that you're able to step out of. If it has been a repeated pattern in your life, I feel like the times are turning here where you get this moment where destiny and fate intervene. And I just feel like you don't have to repeat something of the past. You don't have to, keep brushing something under the rug, or perhaps you're dealing with avoidance, right? People who are avoiding intimacy or avoiding communication in some way. Like, it really feels like now is the time to address it, because Spirit is offering up this invitation. And I feel like you want to say yes to it, but there may be some fears. You may not know how, but let's dive in, because I do see some really wonderful shifts coming in that are leading to new beginnings. Now, you actually have gradual shift with the leaves. Now, here in the Northern Hemisphere, autumn begins on September 22nd. So you may start to see this shift happen more gradually, but I think that 8-8 portal is really going to open it up for you. And by September, October, and November, it feels like you'll have fully been initiated into this new life of yours. Some of you could be entering into a new contract, exiting out of an old contract, a pre-existing one. For others of you, I feel like you are learning how to live more independently. You're learning how to live with more boundaries. Some of you may be learning how to live without, a parent in your life, or learning how to live as an empty nester. It feels like your role is shifting when it comes to matters of the heart, where you've been playing this role for quite some time. And now there's a turning point here where perhaps you get to live for yourself now. Perhaps there are some choices that you are making that free you up, free you in some way. I'm getting freedom, independence. And there's a gradual shift. It's not going to happen, boom, overnight, although there may be a physical event such as the finalization of paperwork. Okay, it could even be, lawyer contracts, divine contracts. It could be divorce. It could be marriage paperwork. It feels like there is some sort of event that does occur, but the actual energetic shift that goes along with it takes a little bit of time to integrate into your life. Now, you have the pine cone here. Sag, this is a spiritual realization. This is an aha moment. Some of you have been asking for signs from spirit, from the universe, from your loved ones. And I see here that you will receive clarity. You will receive this awareness of what your next moves are. Because what's happening right now is you are trying to bring harmony and balance and restore that vibration back into your life because something has felt off for a little while. Maybe that's where the escapism comes in. I'm also getting here avoidant, detached. Maybe these are all words that you have thought to yourself recently, but I feel like this spiritual realization is saying, wait a second. I am a soul having a human experience. I am not meant to be, the non-essential player in my life. I am the lead character of my own life. And I feel like there's something you are stepping up into here, possibly your own magic, your own power, your own worth. And I feel like that is part of the realization. Now, there's also here the potential for connecting with others for support. I do see here support showing up for you, especially if you're going through some heavy changes at this time. You may have friends to rely on. Maybe you are partnered up and you and your partner or you and your spouse are dealing with something external. Maybe you're dealing with those avoidants or people who are not addressing what needs to truly be addressed, and they're trying to fight it with, a mask. It feels like someone's not being fully honest. Someone's not being truthful, or maybe they're in denial about a situation. This has been ongoing, possibly for quite some time. Some of you have been on this journey of what feels to be a bit heavy. Okay, maybe this has been an ongoing legal battle that you've dealt with. I'm talking about legalities and things of that nature because you do have the justice as your main energy here. So the justice does represent karma. It represents accountability, retribution, legal battles, and also maybe divorce. So I feel like you're trying to restore whatever has felt off kilter. And this could even be something within your own energetic field. Something just doesn't feel, connected anymore. And what's happening is you're starting to regain that sense of motivation, that sense of equilibrium here. Some of you may have even had issues with your balance. Maybe you had vertigo, or perhaps you had dizzy spells, maybe a bit of brain fog, or, if you'd get up quickly, you would get dizzy. Now, this is also my military card. Whenever I see these boots, it reminds me of military boots. So some of you could have served, or perhaps your spouse or your partner or a grandparent, or even a family member. Some of you may live near a military base, or perhaps you feel like there's been an energetic war going on, maybe within the family dynamic, and it's been push and shove, but then there's been moments where people are not addressing what they really need to address. And you may be dealing with someone who suffers from alcoholism or suffers from maybe even some form of PTSD, but they may not be willing to get help. Okay. Let's take a look at the bottom of the deck. You have the books. The books is powerful. This tells me that you are tapping into your Akashic records. That is your divine blueprint. That is the choices that you have made. You're looking at how your actions have resulted in certain consequences, but you're also taking a look at everything you've gone through. I'm getting a strong judgment energy here where you have gone through trials and tribulations. You have gone through things that have hurt, that have been difficult, that have been heavy, that have been lost, that have been, dissatisfying. But I feel like you have learned from all of those moments in your life. You have grown into the person that you are today, Sag. And I feel like your guides and your ancestors, your loved ones, are so very proud of you. And I feel like you may have even taken some of those lessons that you have gone through, and you may be learning maybe through actual books where you've taken some classes. So for example, maybe you grew up in a family who was avoidant, or perhaps someone had narcissistic personalities or characteristics, maybe in a past relationship or in your family, and you wanted to learn or understand more about it instead of just judging the situation and saying, yeah, that's the label I'm going to slap on that, right? How can I fully understand the why? Like, how can I learn about myself, about my own triggers, my own wounds, my own behaviors, but also why is someone reacting in the way that they are? Because when you are able to understand the roles, the masks, the personas that other people wear, we are able to drop into compassion. And that's something this world needs more of, is compassion instead of, pointing fingers, instead of judgment. And I feel like that is something you advocate for. That's something you're standing up for. Maybe you are in the field of law enforcement. Maybe law enforcement has been an issue. Maybe you have gone through moments in your life where loved ones or partners or maybe your children have been in trouble with the law, or maybe you have in some way. Maybe now you're on the opposite side of it. So let's dive in here with the justice. Now, justice can be about counseling as well, right? If you are currently in a partnership and it doesn't feel right, maybe you and your spouse have been detached for quite some time. Maybe you want to see if something can be restored. And if it's not together, if you're like, Mel, we're not together, we're getting a divorce, or I'm single, this could be you talking to a therapist or a trusted advisor here, a mentor. I'm also getting here the Hierophant energy. So this could be like a spiritual leader or advisor. Maybe this is someone at church, or it could be, a spiritual teacher that you are working with to help you understand more about your own path. I'm getting like astrology even, and human design, maybe understanding someone's birth chart or looking into your own birth chart. But the justice here is about accountability. And that's why I feel like the books here is saying, okay, I am going to make an oath to myself. This is your soul self saying this, not only prior to coming into this lifetime, but I feel like you've made an oath to learn, to grow. That's why there's been some challenges here for you, because some of you are like, Mel, when am I going to get over some sort of hardship? When am I going to get over some sort of, loss? When am I going to finally feel like I can have this turning point that keeps showing up here with this Wheel of Fortune? And I feel like you are prime, like you are right where you are meant to be, and things are shifting for you. I really do feel like 2025, even though it may have started out a bit intense, I feel like the latter half is going to be better for you. So if you have gone through some struggles with family members or some challenges, it just feels like the brighter side of things, or the sunnier side of things, is showing up here for you. Okay. Now, what's the challenge? What's the challenge here? You have the Page of Pentacles. Some of you, maybe children are involved. This could also be someone else's inner child that is reacting in a way that feels selfish, that feels entitled, that feels wounded, that feels abandoned, right? We've all had something from our childhood that has conditioned us to react or behave in a certain way. And I do see that, some sort of challenge or struggle in the present does have to do with, expectations or emotions that may be rooted in some sort of unresolved childhood tension or pain. And I'm also seeing here, some of you may feel like you have to struggle or fight over child support or child custody. Maybe that's something you have dealt with or are dealing with here. Now, what is in the foundation? What's in the subconscious here? Ace of Pentacles. This is starting again. I feel like you have started again many times, Sag, but there's a fear here of this fresh start. Maybe you have started again, but it wasn't the outcome that you had hoped for. But deep down within you, I feel like you have the ability to have this fresh start. And maybe there's been delays. Perhaps some of you, your physical health or your well-being had suffered. Okay, I am getting that here because it feels like the energy of this Ace of Pentacles is a bit sideways. So it feels like you may have went sideways here with some of your own reflections. It feels like you had questioned your path, your worth, maybe even said, well, what do I do if this isn't my role that I play? Like, who am I? It reminds me of a song, one of my favorite songs, Underneath Your Scars by Godsmack. Perhaps you've heard of that song, Sag. There's a verse in it that says basically, who am I without you? So for those of you that have been in a pattern or a marriage or in a relationship for a big chunk of your life, you may be questioning that. It may be a subconscious fear of like, who am I without you? Do I have what it takes to have this new beginning? Am I worthy of this new beginning here? And I feel like the answer is not only yes, but it's a hell yes. Like, this is something you are meant to reclaim. You have here the sun showing up in the recent past. So the sun is showing up as Leo's energy, but it also tells me that someone has questioned their happiness. Okay, because when the sun is in the upright position, it's happiness, it's vitality, it's playfulness and abundance. And I feel like that's what you want restored. You want there to be fun times where you can spend, in playful mode, feeling confident. Maybe even, again, there's another child. So some of you, this does have to do with maybe reparenting your own inner child, maybe childhood healing for another, or it has to do with your own children. Or maybe you are the child. It's between you and a parent. But I feel like this is what you want back, and your happiness was in question here in the recent past because something has been ongoing for quite some time, and you started to question, is there love? Is this what makes me happy? Does this warm my heart? And so I feel like you have been in that constant battle. Now, what's in your conscious awareness, what you know or what you want, is the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is the energy here of heartfelt, genuine connections. Sagittarius, you don't do surface level very well, right? When you connect with someone, you want to talk about the sun and the moon and the stars and the dreams and travel and, life and, where someone's been and where they want to go. Like, you want to really dive in and get to know someone, but it takes time. It takes effort. It takes trust. And I see that has been difficult for you, as in you have opened yourself up. You have been vulnerable in the past to get burned. Right? When we get too close to the sun, sometimes we get burned. And I feel like you allowed yourself to be vulnerable and open up. And now you're at this justice. So some sort of karmic experience, karmic lesson may have played out. But here's what I want you to know. The Queen of Cups, she is empathic. She's a healer. She is intuitive. I feel like you are being guided here to create a sense of compassion for your own emotions by honoring them. Don't push them under the rug. We are brought up in a society that says certain emotions are bad, right? Certain emotions we shouldn't have, we shouldn't feel. We are humans. We're souls having this human experience that's meant to venture off into a whole different plethora of emotions. And you may at times feel like your emotions get the best of you, or you may feel like you have three main ones, right? Happiness, sadness, anger. But I feel like you're starting to venture out. You're starting to venture out of those three main emotions and say, wait a second, I want to feel joy. I want to feel pleasure. I want to feel excitement. I want to feel passion. I want to feel alive. And I feel like you are not only wanting to feel these things, but you are backing them up by the choices that you are making. So I'm so proud of you. Some of you also have a grandmother, a mother figure, or a divine feminine who is supporting you at this time, whether on this earthly plane or in this spiritual plane. But I feel like there is a very loving, nurturing support here that you have coming through. Now, in the near future, we have the 10 of Swords. So it says divorce right there, divorce certificate. So it's very evident here for some of you Sagittarians, you are currently going through some sort of an ending or some sort of legal proceeding. Maybe this is an inheritance. Perhaps this is something that you are, again, fighting back and forth, alimony or support, or you've dealt with something here that is felt unethical or unfair. I'm getting here even a bit of greed. Someone may have been greedy, but I also see that, you want what's best for the family, like the family. You want best what's for the family here, the children, the child. Some of you, this is one child, maybe more than one here. I'm getting maybe brothers, siblings, but I also see that the 10 of Swords says the worst is over. The worst is over of a situation. So there's a new beginning, and that's the turning point. That's where this wheel comes in and says you have this beginning. Now, some of you, I feel like you've gone through this heartache, this tug of war, and it's constantly felt like it's been pulling you in one direction and then over in this direction. So how you're feeling right now is the Hermit. You're feeling like you want a little bit of time out. Maybe this is the escapism, right? The Hermit can be, going into your shell. It can be withdrawing, rejecting. It can feel a little bit lonely. It can even feel introverted. But I feel like you want your solitude. You need to take time for yourself to recoup, to get that peace and quiet. And I feel like this is important for you at this time. Some of you may also, again, like I mentioned, you have that support system, but I feel like it's equally important to detach from external noise. All right, because you may need to get out in nature, go camping, go grounding. Some of you may be feeling like you've been, holed up in your house for some time. But I feel like this spiritual realization is showing up where you're saying, I don't want to just live my life in this lonely, isolated way. For those of you that are single, right? For those of you that are even in a partnership or you're going through a separation here, I feel like you're starting to dream a little bit bigger. You're starting to feel a little bit more. You're starting to wake up to more of your purpose. Now, what is going on in the external environment? You have the Page of Swords. So here's the Ace of Swords, the truth. Okay, here's the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. There's the spiritual realization. So it feels like there has been, at times externally, people that haven't communicated in the best way. Maybe they've been sharp. Maybe they have tried to confuse you. But I feel like there's a newfound sense of truth coming in. That's the pine cone. That's that spiritual realization where now you've addressed the elephant, right? Now you've addressed what needs to be addressed here. Now you can come up with an action plan for your next move. I like this. And you actually see all of the books showing up here. And you have the books at the bottom of the deck, which again represents knowledge. You're going to figure something out. It feels like you're going to turn that knowledge of yours into wisdom. That's the Hermit as well. So you're doing some soul searching at this time and you're getting answers. There's clarity coming, possibly communication or an important date through technology. Okay, something through technology coming in. This could even be through like a signed contract. But I definitely see that this is part of the breakthrough. And it could even happen here within the first week or so of August is what I'm getting. And then, of course, the shift completely takes place over the autumn time. Now, we have your hopes, fears, and wounds, as well as your outcome. It almost feels like there is an energy here of these two kind of coming in together. All right, you have the Three of Swords and the Four of Wands, which to me is about healing instability. I mean, the Four of Wands is the marriage card. The Four of Wands is 1111, celebration. It is, soul tribe, family, stability, foundation. But when it's showing up as, Three of Swords as part of the fear, it tells me that you have gone through disharmony. There's been lack of cooperation, lack of support here. And that may be your biggest fear, is that continues. But I feel like your biggest hope is that you can find this sense of stability again. And I feel like you will. Why? Because you're intelligent. You are taking the lessons that you have gone through. And even though it's taken a bit of time, some of you have had to repeat those lessons. I feel like you may have also been dealing with, I think I mentioned this, a karmic partnership. It could be a karmic experience that you were meant to go through, which, yes, it was very challenging. Now, what does that even mean? Karmic, right? It's basically our soul goes through these lessons and these challenges to level up, right? To ascend. And I feel like this was a painful experience that you have endured, and you're really hoping that you can regain that sense of balance, restore it back into your life. And I feel like the key, the answer, is addressing the white elephant. Okay, that is going to be the key here to the highest outcome for everyone involved. So let's take a look here at the wisdom of the oracle. What do we have for you? All right. We have why, number 31. And there's another book. Okay, some of you are getting answers through meditation. You may even benefit from maybe going on YouTube, typing in Akashic Record guided meditation. Okay, that could be something worth exploring. Some of you may be getting answers that way as well. There's a deeper understanding of why something happened and the way it happened. This is about motives driving our intentions. It's knowing the why. Now, we don't always know why we engage in our relationships in the way we do, mostly because our feelings aren't always logical. Now is the time to recognize whether you are being triggered by someone else or if your behavior is motivated by unresolved issues in the past. When you ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? And why did I say that? And spend some time in introspection. There's the Hermit. There's the Three of Swords, the unresolved past pain. And then the Four of Wands is the outcome if we basically, listen and we gain that introspection. Even though I feel like those are mingled together, the hopes and fears has to do with the outcome, because it's up to you. Do you want to lean into the hope? Do you want to lean into the fear? The choice is yours. Listen to the messages from your intuition, from the knowing deep within you. What does it tell you about yourself and others? In the end, and we have the end here, the Ten of Swords. In the end, life is all about being loved. Miracles and a deep understanding of your needs and how to get them met are the buried treasures of the why. Uncover them by posing the most powerful question you can ask yourself and your partner if you are in a partnership. Why? All right, sometimes subconsciously denying the truth may drive you toward a specific outcome that actually aligns with an intention hidden from your awareness. For example, you may want to be prominent in your profession, but your desire is not really about sharing your talents, but about making yourself feel better, because fame would cause people to admire and approve of you. Or you may want to reunite with a partner who rejected you because you believe that your love continues to be strong, but deep down, what you really desire is to have the last word with that person. Now is the time for deep soul searching of the why. What drives your choices? What you uncover will set you free and bring you ever closer to the happiness and balance that you seek. I love it. That definitely sums up your reading. All in this one 3-letter word, why. Now, the 31st could be significant, 31st of the month. And I'm also getting here, again, it feels like answers are coming through. You're going to have a lot of spiritual realizations. I feel like there's a lot of enlightenment. And that's why you have the sun here as well, because this is you questioning, asking the questions of what truly makes me happy? Or am I creating? Am I responding? Am I manifesting from a wound? Is this from a wound, or is this from, my heart space? So asking about your why. And Sag, let's get a message here from the crystal spirits. So at this time, if you can safely do so, please close your eyes. Take a nice deep inhale from your nose, from your solar plexus chakra. Nice big breath in. Hold it for the count of 3, 2, 1, and release through the mouth with a nice deep sigh. And with your eyes still closed, tune into your third eye chakra, the area between your eyebrows and your forehead region. And I want you to imagine the first crystal or gemstone that shows up in your mind's eye. Now, this could be a crystal that you are familiar with and maybe even know the name of. Perhaps your crystal is showing up as a specific size, shape, or color. Your crystal could be giving off frequencies of unconditional love, strength, compassion, or balance. And if you need a moment, just pause the video and come back when you are ready. And for those of you that would like to be entered into the free monthly reading giveaway, all you need to do is drop your crystals, whether you have 1 or 3, whether it be the shape, the size, the name, the color, drop it in the comment section below, Sagittarius. I personally will enter you into the giveaway, where I draw one winner around the 1st of the month and post right back here on the community tab. So again, please be sure to hit that subscribe and bell button if you haven't already. All right, you have Aquamarine. The essential meaning of Aquamarine is enhanced clarity, calm discernment, awareness, and acceptance of one's truth. We're getting a lot of truth, and it starts with that white elephant, right? So this is about you addressing something major, maybe speaking up, voicing yourself, expressing yourself. This is the color blue, which corresponds with the blue throat chakra. Slow down and look carefully, for there are details that need your time. This is the message of Aquamarine, which can help you to become crystal clear, both in communicating your needs and in understanding those of others. Old patterns may cause you to overlook new information, material that could give you important insights into your relationships and assist you in making the right choices for yourself. Trust what you notice. If you're feeling a sense of deja vu when it comes to your relationship, it's because the universe is calling you to learn the lesson of Aquamarine. Be discerning and observant, and you will surely make decisions that are for the highest good of all. Now, I think we mentioned that earlier as well. Aquamarine assists in communicating on a frequency of love. Meditating with this stone enables us to soften the edges of our words, teaching us to express ourselves from the heart rather than strictly from the ego or what we know. This brings a loving vibration to our speech and, interestingly, allows us to be truly heard as the vibration is felt by those that we are speaking to. So if this is your reading and this resonates thus far, Sagittarius, if you have this crystal or if you have a local crystal shop, I definitely suggest looking for Aquamarine, because this can really soften those edges. It can help you really shift into that Ace of Swords energy. All right, and last but not least, let's get a message from your higher self. What does your higher self want you to know at this time? What do you need to release? The Ten of Swords, right? When we release and let go, we naturally allow the universe to provide more flow to us. Do you need to release a thought or a belief that is no longer serving you? Inhale and exhale. Let go and lean into trust. Trust in your gut, right? They say the gut is the second brain. It really is. The gut's the second brain. We have a lot of stuff in the solar plexus chakra. It's our powerhouse. It's our ego center, right? It is our sense of belonging in a way where we are able to, sense of belonging is the root chakra, but this is where we feel confident within who we are, our place in the world. So journal what you are ready to let go of. And the mantra that I want you to embrace this month: the wisdom of my soul knows the way. I will trust it. There's that Hermit. The wisdom of your soul knows the way. Trust it. Because these boots of yours, they are walking forward. You're not looking back here. There's something of the past that you may have went back into time and time again. Maybe that old thought pattern, that old belief, that old relationship dynamic, right? Maybe that old role that you have played of people pleasing or whatever it may be. I feel like this is truly an expansive time for you to choose a new outcome. You can't go back and replace what has been done, but you can choose to have a new outcome. And that's exactly what you are doing. Thank you so much, Sag, for tuning in. I know this was deep, and a lot of these love readings this month, I feel like they're more about you, right? Versus maybe other people, but that's where it starts. So whatever the white elephant is in your partnerships, your relationships, this is the month to address it. Lots of love, Sag.